I'm not much of a mech guy, but Armored Core makes a really strong case for it. Probably the most fluid, smooth movement I've played. A glorious clusterfuck of missiles, bullets and lasers, occasionally broken up by a melee weapon. The combination of these two is amazing. Constantly dodging missiles or bullets, flying into the air to make a rocket more devastating, plowing through a horde of lesser mechs with machine guns. It's great. Mechs also look really cool, and customizing my own mech is bringing me right back to being a kid playing with my toys. But this is a FromSoft game, which means the game has insane boss fights that will just pound you into the dirt, where it just seems absolutely hopeless, until somehow, by some miracle, you win. No. It was actually surprisingly easy. I didn't play the game on release, I played it after I saw that people were breaking their controllers over the game. I've never played an Armored Core game before, and Armored Core 6 is easily the easiest FromSoft game I have played. Don't get me wrong, the game is challenging, but as long as you're paying attention and have a reaction span, then you'll get through this with very little rage. Almost all the boss fights in this game took 1 to 3 tries. I beat like half the bosses on my first try, and I'm counting mini-bosses when I say that. The rest was 1 death and then another try, but there were like 4 bosses where I died a few more times. And in those cases, it was because I was still learning the boss. When he's here, he will do this, and when he does this, I should do this. But a lot of the time it was just, I should be in melee range most of the time for this boss. I should be ranged for this boss. I should just fly as much as I can to avoid 90% of his attacks. Like one of the first bosses can't really do anything to you if you're flying above him. I don't think he has any attacks to deal with that. And most of the time, with all enemies, just moving to a side in the fast mode will avoid like 60% of the attacks. And if you see a bunch of missiles or lasers coming at you, just spam the dodge button and you will be fine. Mostly. You might need to change the direction of your dodge. To some people, this game was so hard that they break controllers. Keep them away from Tekken 5. Because they will be breaking necks over the final boss there. That boss is the reason I'm emotionally dead inside. There is one guy though, besides the final bosses. The Ibis series piece of shit. That guy is bullshit. Extremely mobile and hits extremely hard, and I died a lot. The main problem was that he moved too fast to keep track of, and thinking of it, that did happen often. Fighting bosses that move super fast and then I just don't know where they are anymore. So I had trouble until I changed my AC into dual Gatling wheelchair core. And Ongball has a video where he makes this boss his bitch. The takeaway here is play smarter, not harder. And every problem has an optimal solution. And that brings us to the weapons. There are a lot of them, but I only like about 8 of them. The melee weapon you start with and the lance, the Curtis rifle, Gatling gun, and plasma and explosive missiles for the shoulder. That's it. Every time I tried something else, I just ended up thinking, wow, what I had before was much better. Now the reason for that could be bad weapon balance, but I actually think it's more that it doesn't match my playstyle, and I didn't build the rest of my mech around the weapon. Some weapons are good for a tank, some good for a highly mobile mech, and some are good for the middle ground. Plus, the right mech parts can make your weapons do more damage. If you are building a tank, a melee weapon is probably just a waste for you, because you don't have the mobility to get up close to an enemy. You are too slow, and a highly mobile build doesn't have the structure to sustain the weight of heavy artillery. I liked the middle ground. I had structure for some heavy artillery, some health to allow for mistakes, and the mobility to make risky plays in melee and get to cover quickly. That was the general all-purpose build, but if a boss was giving me trouble, I would change parts of my mech to beat the boss. The gameplay is really fun, the build variety is awesome, and the game does give you a great challenge that you can trivialize with the right build. Kinda like Elden Ring. What about the story? Same as all FromSoft games. You feel like you just walked into a conversation that has been going on for 20 minutes, and you have no idea what the context is. And then you watch a Variviria video and go, oh, I didn't get that at all. But the performances are good, and there's a few of those epic cutscenes in there, and some characters I started to like. And when I say some, I mean Rusty, exclusively. He's a good boy. Gameplay, fun. Story, it's alright. FromSoft challenge TM, kinda. If you use the right build for a tough boss, then it's pretty easy. But if you don't go for some cheese build and instead stick to what you like, it's pretty challenging. Or you can put yourself into hard mode by using a bad build. That doesn't sound very fun to me, but you can. For me, being in a mech and destroying other mechs with various powerful weaponry was an awesome and very addicting experience. Now it's time to relax and turn my brain off with Starfield. Subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a great day.